Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Another episode of the Unlaced podcast. As I always say, if you are new here, thank you for turning up. Please give us a like and subscribe. It's how we grow. If you guys haven't gone on and given us 5 stars on Spotify, please feel friendly and go do so. It's how we're getting our platform up. And I also, as I always say, if you've come back again, I absolutely love you. I'll be honest, I've been trying to get this next guest on for a couple of weeks now, or probably a couple of years, to be honest, but I was probably a little bit too scared. And then because of his stature, and he's such a great man that I've got to know over the past few weeks since the grand final celebrations, maybe a better bloke than he is football, which is a big compliment and testament to him because he's a hell of a footy player. But Rusty Sidebottom, Steele Sidebottom, mate, thanks for coming on the show.
Nah, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure.
Real pleasure.
Real pleasure. Yeah, we did have a few jabs at each other that you hadn't been on the show, and he's like, "Oh, I haven't even asked for it." I was like, "Man, I genuinely am scared to ask you and Pendles. They're like the cream of the crop." But I was quite flattered that you'd actually even known what the show was.
I'd seen all the other boys on and was standing there. I was like waving in the corner. Do you want me on or not?
No, I did. As soon as you said it, I'm like, mate, don't tell me that because I'm gonna message you tomorrow and be like, do you want to come on? But we're here now, mate. You've had a pretty big few weeks, no doubt. So have you had a chance now, like, because you've won one before, but I assume this one's a bit different, which I want to go into. But after like 3-4 weeks now, have you been able to look back with a bit more clarity and clearness around what actually went down?
Not really. Like, I still feel like a little bit. I'm still like caught up in the moment a little bit.
Yeah.
Like even at home, we've got heaps of like Collingwood books and like my daughter's stuff, like Collingwood jumpers. It's like no matter where I go at the moment, I'm reminded of it.
Really?
And I can't help it, like get caught up. So like social media videos popping up. But yeah, I don't think I've only sat back and watched the first half as well. I haven't watched the second half.
Have you not?
Nah.
Really? But why is that? Like you just don't want it to end?
Well, almost, yeah. But I don't know. I would like just to sit down with maybe a few boys and like enjoy it properly. But I don't think I've yet to sit back and.
Fuck, man.
I just want to let it just keep going.
I think I said this on the pod with Q, and I'd be keen to get your perspective because I never really spoke to Pendles before, but episode with Q, by the way, was a great one for Pies fans. I know you guys will all be watching this one, so if you haven't watched that one, do go back and watch it. But I was telling Pendles, I was like, mate, as a fan, that was like probably the best game to watch as a neutral, but as like a Pies fan, it was the most nerve-wracking game because it was so end-to-end, and Pewsey thought Brisbane might get up, and I was like, did you guys realise that on the field, how good it was and how nervous it was as like a fan? And he's like, kind of, but like you don't get a chance to reset. Like you have to reset, on every centre bounce, so you got to be in it.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think I heard DC might have said that he was on the bench when it was like the last 5 minutes, so he could get nervous, but I feel like when you're out there, you don't have time, but I don't know. Like you're so, like I can have a say on it. Someone sitting in the crowd sort of can't.
Yeah,
like you can have
true.
your thing. So yeah, I feel like you almost don't have time to be nervous, and you're so like invested into the game that, I mean, you probably do have something there, but like, you're almost just looking, what do I need to do next to.
Mate, for me, I can relate to it, but at the same time, I was like, fuck, it must have been like I remember there's 2 conversations I've had with you that stood out. The first initial ones, I think this one was in the change rooms, and I gave you a hug and I was like, mate, fuck, I didn't know you could kick 60. And you looked at me like, it was 70, wasn't it?
I
walked off and said, mate, you should have heard that. You should have heard that one line. He's just ripped on me. He's just walked off with a beer in his hand in the change room.
Saturday night, it was probably about 95.
Into
the wind too.
Yeah, into the wind. Well, it did. It went over the fence, didn't it?
Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of a tailwind. And
why did everyone like, not internally, because everyone like, I think someone said you're a long kick, but like, obviously accuracy and set shot and all that sort of stuff. Like, did you know that you had it? Like the distance and all that's in your head?
Well, if I normally have a set shot, like I'm real straight. So guys who probably run straight can't get that little bit of an arc and more of a bit of a hook, but more carry. But I knew that I couldn't kick my normal, like go through my normal routine because I wouldn't be able to get it that far.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure if you've watched it, you like me, probably 55 times. You can see I swing out late and just try and get as much onto it. And I get a little bit of left to right, and it just started left, and then it never looked like missing. And
Did you know straight off the boot, in a sense, like one of those ones?
I did. And like, it's funny because like in the moment and things like it's amazing what your body can do, like a bit of adrenaline and that. But if you look at that kick, how I kick it and like I land, like it just looks so smooth. Like that is my routine. But yeah, I don't know. By that stage, I knew it was almost like it didn't even hit my foot.
It's lucky that like you probably trained footy so much that was just muscle memory in a moment where you probably didn't even know what you were doing.
Yeah.
You're just like, fuck, this is. Did you even realize how like important that was to the game? Because I mean, if you had to kick the point, like it still would have been a big
5 points.
Yeah, it still would have helped. Do you know what I mean?
I did, and because it was by that stage, then they needed to kick 2 goals to win it.
Correct.
So the best thing about like, because when Charlie Cameron kicked that goal, and then Geordie literally kicks one 10 seconds later, like for us to get straight back in front and get the Magpie Army straight back into it was so important for us. And yeah, I've said so much since the grand final that our fans play a huge role in all of our wins.
Yeah, mate, they've grown my podcast.
Yeah.
Getting Pies people on, they literally have just like, they're that big.
They are. And I actually said during the grand final stuff that like we could have egg and spoon races at the club and they'd turn up. Like, they would.
They actually would.
They just love it.
Yeah,
they love
do.
it.
They're kind of sick in a sense. Like they're obsessive and they remind me a lot of like football fans in the UK. Like it's entrenched in your culture and your blood and it's real different, man.
Oh, it's unreal, and that's what makes our footy club so special as our fans.
Yeah,
sure.
Wow, that's pretty cool because you're probably actually to be honest, I still feel like it wasn't that long ago the grand final. Like how long was it ago now? Like maybe a month, bit over a month, less than. 3 weeks.
I think it was.
I've been
like
out, mate. I know. I've been partying that much.
I think it's been to like 2.5 weeks.
No way. Is it only been 2.5 weeks?
It has.
Sure. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, by the time this comes out, it'll be about a month over. But how did you find your overall season? Because one thing I've heard you spoke about last season on a podcast was like you kind of undersold the fact of like, you know, beyond the year that's just gone, which you were contracted for or whatever, like what your plans would be beyond it. And it's like the way you spoke, you maybe thought like, well, you'd want to keep playing, but you don't know what the club thinks or how form goes in the team, which is fair enough. Yeah. But then you watch you this season, you're like, mate, you're still going, bro.
Yeah. I think my last 2 seasons have been pretty good. The few seasons before that, which probably, you know, makes me doubt myself and, you know, everyone's got an opinion. They start writing things about you. But I think since Fly come in as well, like he just gave me a real clear focus and basically asked me where I wanted to play. And I said, I think I've played my best footy on the wing and I've predominantly played wing the last couple of years. And, you know, this year obviously got injured and missed seven games, I think. But yeah, I'm definitely confident in my ability, and I think that, you know, when I lose that and think that, you know, I can't keep up is when probably I'll make the decision, and hopefully I'll get to make the decision because I know a lot of players do. It gets made for you, but it's
a privilege, right?
Yeah, I still feel like I've got something to give, and I won't be selfish because I've had such a lucky and whatever you want to call it. It's been good to be at the Collingwood Footy Club, but yeah, I've been very fortunate. I'd hate to, you know, stick around too long and cost someone else some games as well. Yeah.
Because I reckon you're a very humble guy, but like, are you doing some crazy shit outside of the ground to like keep you at the level that you're at? 'Cause, I mean, you're only 2 years older than me, which is 32, but at the same time, you have played 15 odd years at the top level, which can bang the body up a bit.
Yeah. I've probably this year has been the only kind of year that I've done something. And it's funny because I've never really done anything outside footy other than, you know, what's been expected of me. Yeah. And, you know, not everyone's like that. But this year I've had to tip into, you know, things away from the footy club. You know, I've had some issues with my feet, which I've had to, you know, get external people to look at. But yeah, I think now that I'm getting older, I'm starting to feel the knocks and all that a lot more. Like I've definitely got to tip into more off the field stuff.
Because I was like, man, you're moving so well. Like I see other 32-year-olds playing, they don't move like you. especially on the wing. I feel like that's a robust position in regards to like endurance and running.
Like, I've probably been lucky that I haven't copped as many knocks and that out there as well. So, like,
because running, I can't catch you, mate.
I'm definitely not fast, but I'm maybe
up there. Though.
But I've always had the endurance side of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's probably the one thing that makes me the player I am is that I can run. So once I can't run, then I'm probably fucked.
Yeah, that's right. But so have you, like, even on field, have you noticed like you've had to not change? Because I find as when I was like with soccer players when I was playing, as they got older, people used to say you have to change your game a bit.
Yeah,
in a sense, or like, you know, either you're not as quick off the mark. I think have you noticed that's like subtle differences? Or you still being able to play like you feel like you're 20?
Well, no, I'd be lying if I said that.
Yeah,
but like probably things that I've probably not like actually had to sit down and think about, more so that I've just picked up along the way, like that
instinctively
have helped me.
Yeah, okay.
But like even like this year, like Dakes. So me and Dakes have played on the wing like for the majority of it. You know, even for me now, like before every game, before probably the last couple of years, I'd always just pick my side and I'd sort of have my side. But now, like, you know, I just say to Dakes, which side do you want? I'm happy to go to the other side. And just to see someone like him who's, you know, young and have the year he's had. He hasn't thanked me, but I'm sure he will one day.
He's too busy. He's too busy living it up in Italy.
I know. But it's nice to see, like, you know, guys that, you know, potentially I've been able to help a little bit along the way now. So,
mate, I was with the Copeland. I mean, I know people will say, "Oh, poor Nick, like didn't get sort of the Brownlow or that," but at the same time, I was so rapt Josh got highlight because he had so consistent.
Yeah,
like I can say this, you can't, but he's great in a multi.
Yeah,
he's outstanding. Like he's just Mr. Consistent for you guys. So, and I love seeing that get rewarded.
Yeah.
Did you like? Were you? I mean, obviously, were you sort of happy for him when he won that, or expecting it? Because you would have had I reckon you would have had a big part to play in his.
I probably wasn't expecting him to win, but I wasn't surprised either.
Yeah, it's
like
one of those, right?
That he'd. I don't think he missed a game. Like as you said, he's so consistent. He's someone you want the ball in their hands because he's probably the best kick at our club. So yeah, I wasn't surprised by it, but I was probably thinking even like George. I thought George might have finished.
Yeah, I thought it would be him and Nick like top two or something.
And Das, but I don't know. George must be treating the coaches well enough.
He didn't make top 5, did he? That was ridiculous.
No, he didn't. But
oh well.
Yeah,
he's got the other medal.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what you're saying about Nick as well.
Yeah, well,
Brownlow.
Correct.
He's got the one that he wants.
That's true, and I'm sure you're going to win many more. I'm going to come back into the footy, but I do want to just talk about first time we properly met because I had a phone call yesterday with my uncle.
Yeah,
he's a really good cricketer in the UK, and it would have been like 4 or 5 years ago. He came over to me. He said, "Mate, do you know some dude?" Like, you mentioned your name. He called you Rusty. And I'm like, Rusty? Yeah, Rusty something. I'm like, Steele? And he's like, yeah, that's right. He goes, I'm playing cricket with his brother. And I came over and told you, I said, mate, I'm pretty sure your brother's played cricket with my uncle. And you come over to me, look me dead in the eye and goes, does that mean we're family? And I just met you and I'm like, I guess so, bro. I guess so. Like dead eye, like didn't even blink, like kind of like a steery look. Does that mean we're family? No, I just thought, fuck me, that's golden. That's golden. But yeah, he said your brother was a great bowler, swing bowler in the UK.
Yeah.
He played for Warwickshire for a while, which is, you obviously had sport in your family.
Yeah. Well, basically it's all we've had in the family. Growing up in a little, small town, had the footy oval over the back fence. Like it was, cricket, footy, tennis, golf, like anything outdoors. Like now kids are all inside. Like back then, like even just riding the bikes, like our town was so small and there was probably like 20 kids around our age. We used to play tiggy around tally, as we call it, like around the whole town. It was that small.
Because you didn't go to Shepparton until you were in high school, right?
Yeah, till high school.
So you're in a smaller town than Shepparton, weren't you?
So, like, man, Shep's massive compared to Tally.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the population of Tally?
Like 300 or something.
Fuck me.
Yeah. So, but like for me, like I love going back to Tally now. Like still a lot of the same people still live in Tally. They don't have a pub there anymore. They got the footy club and the cricket club, the bowls club. But like, yeah, it's just you go back to Tally and I don't know, like I know everyone, they know me as Rusty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to be able to go back like that and just be your not old self, but, who you once were. And because, to them, I'm just Rusty who I was when I was growing up. I'm not Steele Sidebottom, the footballer to them.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because like I imagine in the country as well, and you're probably like a legend in Shepparton as such, but at the same time, because people are such good sports there and all really good people, do they just kind of acknowledge you like a normal human being and not get around you in a way like people in like fanboying you as such as they would in Melbourne?
Yeah, well, definitely. And I think that's why it is like that, because, I mean, no matter who you are, say, like I can't be the way I am in Shepparton and here. Like I play for Collingwood. I've always got to be Steele Sidebottom from Collingwood. Yeah. Like I'm always representing the footy club.
Yeah.
You never know who's watching or whatever. But when I go back home, like I can sort of lose that a little bit and just be myself. So it literally is awesome. I love going back there. Like even like we did some footy, like we do footy tip, and so we got like a Snapchat group with all the tally boys in it. It's great, and I love going back home and just I'll have to take you back there,
mate. I want to go. I want to see what it's like for you there.
It's not what you'd think.
That's kind of why, because I think my guess is it's like people would be like, "Hey mate, how are you?" and just right, a kangaroo. No, I just reckon people wouldn't bother you there. Yeah, like they treat you like a mate rather than like, oh, you played 300 games in the AFL.
And that's like here, like because it's so small and everyone, like you just walk past someone, and I always sort of look to someone to say hello.
Yeah,
like in Melbourne and that, like people. They don't look at you or they don't want to be.
Was that hard to adjust to, like when you first came to Melbourne? Because of like, you'd come to literally the biggest club in the land and you've come from one of the smallest towns in the country.
Yeah, country. Well, it definitely was. Like I got drafted on the Saturday, and then Derek Hine and Jace Taylor back then, recruiters, picked me up on Sunday and basically drove me straight to Williamstown. So I was 17, didn't have a license, straight to Melbourne. And like then, as I said, didn't have a license. I used to catch a train back to Shep every Friday night for the weekend and then get on it like Sunday night just to come back to train. So I'd still go back every weekend. But it's because it is so close, it's been all right as well.
Yeah,
like once I've got my license, I've been laughing. But it's funny now, I've been here 15 years. I would never move back there.
No, it's crazy. I was going to say, like, would you go back post-career now? But you probably...
Nah.
Because you got a family, young family now, so it's
like
different.
Leash works here and, as I said, it's like 2 hours away, so I can just cruise back. Like mum and my brother still live there. But I think when I go back there now, it's awesome because it's like the weekend and people doing nothing. When you go back and it's Monday to Friday, I don't think there's not much going on. So.
Yeah, you'd be used to the chaos now, I guess. Did you have like other sports or prospects? Because I feel like you would be like a multi-talented guy. You'd be one of the guys that if we played table tennis, you'd be half decent. Then you play pool, you're half decent. Table tennis or what? Sorry, not table tennis, like tennis or golf. I bet you'd be good at.
I think I'm just okay at them. Like some players say they've had to make decisions between basketball or cricket. I've never had to make a decision. Yeah, I remember in under 12s I was trying out for Victoria in cricket and footy at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
But then footy's always been
number one
for me. And I've never been that great at cricket. I've just been all right.
Because I reckon me and you, if we were in a field and a team was in the ditches for like 3, we'd hold them up.
Yeah.
We'd get around them. We'd be great on the chirp in the field.
I love fielding more than probably batting.
Yeah, me too.
I face up and like shit myself waiting for short balls and that.
Man. I thought cricket was fun and then I started to see how quick people bowled and I was like, kind of sucks. But your journey to the AFL is pretty incredible because I actually didn't know. I mean, I knew about you when you were at Collingwood, but I didn't know sort of how you came into it in the Big Tag Cup Grand Final, which I'm sure you'd be glad I brought up. But did you have any idea sort of pre that Grand Final or pre-draft how high you were going to go? Like, were you always a lock for the AFL or did you have sort of a big year coming in that sort of catapulted you up?
During that Bushies year, so my first year before I got drafted, I'd always said that I was never going to get a manager until I got drafted. Like, why do I need a manager unless I'm drafted? But then it got to a stage where basically you never know until it happens. But I had a fair idea that I was probably going to get drafted. So I had an all right year in the bushes, and then the two finals leading into that grand final, like I played pretty well. So I think, I knew that I was probably going to get drafted, but that TAC Cup grand final probably
Had you ever kicked 10
up.
in a game of that, like, sort of level?
Nah.
Like, nah. So, like, you went at, so what was sort of like your, like, would you kick a couple goals as a forward and here and there?
Yeah.
So just one day you just popped up and kicked fucking 10.
Yeah.
At Marvel.
Yeah. It was just one of those days, like I couldn't do anything. One of my first possessions, I got holding the ball.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. And I remember my mum speaking about it as well, and she was like, "Oh no, like what are we in for today?" Yeah, but it soon changed. Like, I kicked 3 in the first quarter, and then none in the second, and then probably what helped is we ended up winning by 70 points as well, so I could probably stay a little bit more forward. And then third quarter I kicked 5, so I was on 8 by 3/4 time, and then basically they just cleared the 50 out for me to get me 10, and I choked a little bit. I had 9 straight, and then hit the post, missed a couple, kicked one out in the full, and then finally, not long to go, I got number 10.
Mate, that was some bloody team as well. Because a lot of the people, I remember I was watching clips of it, and it's like every ball it went to, I was like, I reckon they played 100 games, 200 games.
Yeah.
Like, it was a pretty elite squad you guys had.
We had a great team.
Zeeble, Rockcliffe.
Sammy Wright was in it.
Hey folks, just a quick pause in this episode, which I hope you're enjoying, just to let you know that I have partnered with Dabble. Dabble is a gambling agency, one of the great platforms out there where you dabble socially and gamble responsibly. Very similar to Instagram, where you can follow some of the head honchos in the various sports and copy their bets to get some good wins on the board. Now, one of the more interesting things we're doing this year with Dabble is Jake's Take, a weekly stream every Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m, where we put a couple of bets on some greyhounds, we get some guests on the show, and we cut up shop around what's happening around town in all codes across sport. So make sure you come on down, check it out within the Dabble app, and let's get back into the episode. Coming to Collingwood, I'm always interested as well, because one thing I don't reckon spoken enough about your career, and I want to pick your brain on it, is how many deep final series you played in your first 4 years.
Yeah.
Like, does that, because I equate like Nick, he's gone through that now. He's played a prelim and a grand final. Yeah. It's like pretty much like you.
Yeah.
And then, you had another 2 seasons of it as well.
Yeah.
Then you kind of gone this hiatus until sort of 2018 or whatever it is, until you're back in there. But like, did you kind of, 1, A, take that for granted? And then 2, like how much more do you reckon that makes you a better player quickly in the AFL?
Yeah. I never, like now I'm sitting in this position. I never think that I took it for granted. But I was not, like I was 18, 19 years old. It was just normal. Like
you're fearless in a way.
I'm not a 32-year-old, so I do things different to, how I would now. So I definitely don't think I took it for granted. But like, I just thought that was what it was like. Like, as you said, 2009 was a prelim, 10, 2 grannies, 11, lost the granny.
Yeah.
12, lost the prelim, like 13, I think we played in final.
Yeah,
so
it's
like,
just jokes.
Like I just thought like that's normal.
Yeah.
And then, as you said, like to miss out on finals for like a big portion of time for like 5 or 6 years.
It's been weird.
Oh, it's shit house.
Yeah, it
like,
sucks.
And even like I hate watching, I love watching footy during the season when like I'm still involved in that. But like if I'm not involved, I can't sit there and watch like another team.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's shit house. And I'd much prefer to be playing out the G than sitting on the couch.
Bloody hell. Do you reckon it made you a better player though? Because I just feel like for some reason not necessarily because you won one so early, but just having that, because I reckon when I spoke to Swanee about it, I think I asked Campbell Brown, I'm like, there's like the level of footy get better when you play finals.
Yeah.
And they're like, it gets a bit quicker.
Yeah.
Like you got to make decisions quicker. And obviously Campbell Brown, I thought summed it up well. He's like in big games, like moments count. Like people will, if you did like the same mistake in round 2, it doesn't get front page. But you do that in grand final, it's like, that'll change the game.
Yeah.
That type of stuff.
Yeah. So I was probably, like it would have probably fast-tracked my career being put in such a good team, and it helps you play well. And our club was going so well. So like, like everything I was doing was to like such a high standard. Whereas if I had gone to a club that wasn't going as great, like, who would know? Like, but yeah, I would say that me going to a club that was so successful at the start was a huge help rather than, you see guys like struggle. We've had guys who struggle at VFL level as well and then like are good players in the AFL because you're around like better players. And
I agree. I agree with that. I play better with better. In my sport, it's well known, you play better with better players.
Yeah. And so potentially like if, good players are stuck in the VFL and it looks like they're struggling, like, it's hard. So I'd say that I was fast-tracked being a part of a good side early, no doubt.
It was pretty hard to be, pretty tough. Like it says a lot about you though to be in that 22 because that I reckon. Like I always say, St Kilda. The reason why St Kilda lost being a Saints fan. Well, now I'm Collingwood by allegiance, but at the time I was like the bottom pool of players. It was like maybe not as good as the bottom pool of players in Collingwood. Yeah. But then I look back to Collingwood's team. I was like, fuck, it's a good team.
Yeah.
And you in like year 2.
Yeah.
In that sort of draw and win flag season.
Yeah.
When you first came to the Pies, was there sort of anyone, because it's funny now you're the sort of the veteran in the dressing room, but anyone that used to like kind of look around with that fanboy kind of vibe? Like Q used to talk about that with Pendles. Like he had Pendles on his wall. Yeah. Which is real weird.
I hated the Pies growing up.
Yeah, you were Dons.
Yeah, love the Dons. But like to be honest, I'm like a full footy nut. Like I love footy. And all I ever wanted to do was to play AFL. And then when I got drafted and like walking into I think it was the Lexus Centre back then, like, and just, I don't know, like imagine how many times I've dreamt of this moment to finally actually walk in and like see Mick Malthouse in the flesh, like meet Eddie Maguire. Like it was unbelievable. And then, I remember like a few times like Daisy Thomas and that, they probably like, it's funny, like things that I was around early days, like I still do, like, you see someone walking down the corridor and you just shout at their name and like sort of pop behind the thing. So they turn back and no one's there. Like I remember like early days, like, if I'd hear my name called, like I'd be on high alert. Like someone wants to talk to me and I'd turn around and there's like no one there.
Just take the piss out of you.
Yeah, taking the piss. And like, I reckon like for those kind of things is like what makes you feel a part of it like quicker. Like
getting the piss taken out of you.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, bloody oath.
It mightn't have been that great at the time, but like, as I said, like I don't think there was probably guys like I used to love Dids early days.
Yeah.
Like he was a star and like used to love playing with him as well. Like some of the things that he would do.
Feels like Did seems like Alan Didak for those, but he seems like one of those players. Like he was great to watch as a fan, but everyone who's played with him speaks about him in this like level of like he was like that good.
Yeah,
which is crazy to me because you guys must like. I always feel when you play in those big stages, you take appreciation for the players that can do things in the big moments.
And like that's why I think he's held like that because some of the things he would do like under pressure and in those big moments, like you said as well, like it mightn't be your day, but like you could have a moment there, but could change the whole thing. And I reckon, he's had a few that people sort of sit back and think, fuck this.
Who was who in that era for you was like the big game player or the one that being a young kid, you kind of idolized on the big stage of like this guy doesn't give a shit that there's 90,000 people here playing his heart out.
Yeah, well, like he was probably one of them, I reckon, because I don't know, he kind of went different. Like he went about it different than others as well, like sort of away from footy. I don't know, like footy wasn't his interest as well. So sort of like, I loved it too because it was almost like he just rocked up and was just a gun. Like, didn't sort of care as much as others maybe, but like he'd, just rock up and would be a superstar. But like, like Swanee the same. Like,
same
stuff. Like
he fascinates me, man. Yeah. He's become one of my good mates now, and I just like he's still. I can see like the way he approaches life now. He still kind of gives off that vibe, like doesn't really care too much, but he's just brings so much value everywhere he goes.
Yeah. No doubt. There's like how I was saying before, like how I've done, nothing off the field until sort of like now to look after my body. Like there's guys who do things flat out. And like if you had look at like the way Pendles goes about his footy and the way Swanee goes about it, like both fucking champions of our footy club, guns, but like so different in the way that they prepare and go about it. Like, there's no like blueprint for how you should go about it, but I think you sort of, when you first arrive, there is sort of like not a blueprint, but there's sort of guidelines to follow. And then as you get older, you just find what works for you. And that's why, like, yeah, guys can be so different. But yeah, I think your question was just
I think
a little bit.
No, you did. You did. Yeah, we said Didac and think Swanee.
Yeah.
So that was perfect.
Yeah.
Mate, did you? One thing's crazy as well, because considering you're a bit of a footy nuffy, but 300 games, like,
Yeah.
I don't think you ever come into the AFL setting that as sort of like a target of like, that's what I want to do. But to achieve that, like, I don't know how you get to that level. For you know, it's a long time in the game at the highest level. But is that something you had ever thought of, like a possibility? It's pretty crazy when you think about it.
Oh, it is. And like, same thing, like speaking about the granny, like I don't, because I'm like still playing and I'm still involved, like
You don't look at it?
I've definitely thought about it, but like,
you're so humble, bro. That's why. Because like I have conversation with them. Like I've played like 40 games in the A-League. He's played 300 and won all these things. You would never know with you, man.
Yeah.
You would never know.
And
that I think that's a real compliment though too.
Yeah. And that's, I think, because of where I've come from as well.
Yeah.
Like, as well. But like, there's not like I enjoy. I know that I've got the best job in the world. Like, and I like never take it for granted. Like, I love what I do. It's not really a job, like really. But like the 300 games, like milestone and things like that, like for me as well, like the footy club and what they did for me and my family, and like, I don't know if you've seen like the videos, like my neighbours and things, like they made like a banner and I drove through it before the game and shit. Like,
you did not.
Yeah.
But you're straight.
Yeah, like literally they must have. They had like well, we've got like a WhatsApp group for our street, and they must have made another one without me in it and just organised, and Leash basically said, all right, he's about to leave. And
what a community, a WhatsApp group for a street.
Unreal.
That's unbelievable.
I would say like during like COVID and that, we used to have like street drinks, just put it in the thing. But yeah, like the milestones and things that I've been a part of, like I've enjoyed so much. But like, I think it's when I finish playing footy that I'll really look back and maybe understand and, you know, maybe the impact that I've had. But yeah, now that I'm sort of a part of it and still in the thick of it, I haven't really thought too much about it.
Yeah. But one thing I actually kind of like, what you've sort of done with your career as well, and it's probably contradictory to what I like push out to athletes now, but at the same time, if I was in your shoes, I'd be doing the same. Like I would have zero interest in doing activities or careers or sort of curriculums outside of footy. Like I would just be all eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Not for the fact that I'm not interested, but it's like, this is what I want to get the most out of at this time.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of players now are like starting to veer off and do that. And you can do both, but I actually like that.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where your focus should be, especially when you're getting a good wicket and all that sort of stuff. But because you've always been like that, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. And probably it might bite me in the ass at some stage.
You need a second podcast host, Jake.
Jake, you want to have three on that potty? No, seriously, but it's going to be a time. But like as you said, I loved school because of the social side of it. Like I used to love going there and like, you know, would love to take the piss with the teachers, all that. But like I was never interested really in doing my work and stuff. Like I could do my work, but like I just love going to school purely for the social side of it.
Yeah, me too.
And so like since coming to the footy club, like as you said, like I feel like the AFL part of my life is like going to be let's say it's 16, 17 years.
Yeah.
So like it's really a sort of a small part. So as you said, like I want to like give it everything, and but in saying that, like there's still, if I could start my career again,
would you change it? Yeah,
just the fact that there's a lot of probably free time that I could have been pursuing something else outside,
But see, I also like to defend you on that because my pro contract started in like 2011.
Yeah.
And I reckon you were like, what, 2009?
9, yeah.
In that generation, you shouldn't have been doing that.
Yeah.
You should have just been focusing on footy.
Yeah.
So like, I think you've just stayed in that.
Yeah,
Whereas now the blokes getting drafted, like getting educated on like what to do outside of it. Social media is a platform there. People like not even meaning to get big on and they're making money off
it. Yeah.
So it's very different.
Yeah. But like, and there's always been things so like you have like when you get drafted, like the first year's program things, and they go through all these different topics about like, finance and like, all those things. But like there's always been possibilities for me to pursue something outside of footy. It's like there's been a lot of things that I've like started and had a crack at, but then like just like fuck. Like I have real like commitment.
That's a terrible habit, man. That's a terrible habit.
Yeah, I know it is.
You didn't change that.
It is.
But one thing, at least like you haven't done that with your footy career.
Yeah.
Started and stopped.
Well, and that's probably why I've been able to like start something and be like, can't be fucked or whatever, because I know that I've got footy that. So, hopefully, and when footy's not there anymore, I feel like I've done well enough out of my footy career as well that like I'm not going to have to finish my footy career and then get a job the next day. Like I'll be able to like sit back a bit and
pick and choose a bit.
Yeah, I'll get a job, whether it's the job that I have forever straight away. But like I'm pretty content that I'll be right to find a job. Like,
I think you've earned that right to have that sort of luxury of where try some things and stuff. Do you have any actual interests outside of footy though? Like you're really that nuffy, aren't you?
Like and it's all like as I said, like school and that. Like I wasn't at school thinking I want to be a doctor or anything. So like when I was at school, I was going to school to have a kick at half time.
Yeah.
Half time at lunch at the footy.
That's how he talks about school.
Go for have a kick at lunchtime and recess. Like I wasn't there to because like I did VCAL at school because I didn't want to go to uni. And if I didn't get drafted, I would have been doing a trade of some sort still in Shep. But
it's interesting. So you've had 3 coaches in your career, which it's like I would never want you to pick them apart because when I thought about it, I was like, you've been to grand finals with all 3.
Yeah.
So obviously all great in their own regard. But I just want to start with Fly because you would have played under Bucks and Mick, who's like a sort of a legend of the game.
Yeah.
But for you, when Fly came in with your experience, what was the thing that either gravitated you to him or just thought like he's like in this area, he's so different to what you've experienced?
Yeah. Well, Fly was a development coach back in 2014 as well. Right. So I knew him then. But when he first got, picked to be the coach at the start of last year, the first thing he did, and it wasn't just the players, like he got everyone from the whole footy club, like and had like a sit down like me and you are now, and like had his notepad out and basically just had a chat for like 45 minutes.
Wow.
Not even really about footy, about their life, and like got to know everyone. And like you see him writing things down, like, and he's really like wants to get to know everyone at the footy club.
Really?
And I reckon like most coaches can coach the X and the O's and all that, but I think it's the relationships that make good coaches good. And the way Flyers sort of, brought our whole footy club together, not just the playing group, but like our whole footy club. It generally feels like, like we always talk about side by side and all those kinds of things. I think right now, present, like we've never lived it as much as we are, and it's
crazy. Because I never think like you can play on the same teams as blokes, but you don't have to get on with everyone.
Yeah,
but it generally feels like when you've been around you boys, and like obviously I've been around whether it's been good times and stuff, but everyone kind of like gets on or has respect for each other, which is pretty hard in like a big wall of sporting club where there's high emotion and stuff like that.
Yeah, and like don't get me wrong, there's times where fucking we're arguing and
I bet.
And not fighting, but there'll be scuffles or whatever. But I think because as well, like everyone's competitive, and because we are close as well, like everyone wants that same thing, which obviously we're lucky enough to get. But when there's 44 guys there who all want the same thing and there's only 23 spots, like that stuff's going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just have an environment at the moment where everyone can just be themselves and rock up and have fun. And I think, as you'd know, if you are going to work and it's a place where you like to be and want to be, then you're going to get more out of yourself.
What about from like, how did Fly sort of handle you? Because I feel like what he does really well outside of the X's and O's, which you would know better than me, is he handles like your mental states really well.
Yeah.
And like the expectations and how, because like there's a period where you guys were like, I don't know, 16 games in and undefeated for a long part of the season.
Yeah.
And you've almost like, even though you won the flag, it's almost like people are expecting you before finals even start, which is quite hard, I think, like on the mind. How did he maintain you guys to, even when your wings were getting clipped a little bit, pardon the pun, coming into finals, like to maintain you guys just to stay on point?
Yeah. Well, I think towards the end, as you said, like it was really early in the season that we had almost qualified for finals. And then sort of once you make finals and you want to make top four. So like, as you said, we were a long way out, but sort of knew that we were going to play finals, which can be hard. And there's no doubt that some of our performances potentially sort of showed that. But I reckon like Fly was good as well. Like he just broke the last sort of few games up into like little blocks as well, and like gave us like just different things to aim for. Like, and he's really good at like just different themes and things as well. Like there's always something new.
Yeah, he seems like he brings up something emotional really, into like a different connection piece.
Like almost every week he'll start off the week with like he'll tell a story and it'll like lead back to sort of his theme for the week or something. Like,
jeez, he's good.
Yeah, he's good. So like and he talks a lot about walking into the footy club on a Monday, and so like if you walked in, you wouldn't know if we won or lost. So like he wants guys just to come in and not be fucking slouched down because we lost.
We're in Prada, boys. Had 24 on the weekend.
Yeah, he's just really good at like just changing things up and keeping the stimulus high for guys, and giving them new things to put their attention to. But I mean, at the end of the day, it all leads back to winning games of footy. And you mentioned like our form leading into finals wasn't that great, but we'd done enough by that stage, and potentially the coaches were looking at different things. And, I think when you play oppositions as well, you can, so like, as you said, like we knew sort of who we were going to be playing in the finals sort of, a few weeks out from it. So you can sort of go into games with, you're focusing on that rather than sort of what's in front of you, because we'd already qualified and we were in a position to be able to do that. So, just keeping the guys, fresh in the mind and whatever. But he's a really smart, witty man and very funny as well, which helps.
Seems it. He seems it.
A pisser.
I'm trying to get him on the air. Let's see. I don't know if it's possible.
He'd be a ripper.
Yeah, I know. Because I feel like I caught him my geezer in that Ali G video.
No, so he would love that.
Yeah, so like
he would love that. Yeah, he would love that.
Yeah, I was very flattered that that video got showed. Do you know what's Tommy Mitch talks about it? I know you love footy, so it probably I don't think you would have it's hit you as much as it's hit maybe other players, but how much fun you guys are having now as well.
Yeah.
Like, does that rejuvenated you a bit, like reconnected you? Because it seems like, I also think when you play the free-flowing footy you guys have, that's nice to watch. You've actually be super fit.
Yeah.
And it's maybe harder.
Yeah.
Harder than what people think because you're running so hard and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's this balance of like you're having more fun.
Yeah.
You're probably working your socks off too.
Yeah. Well, then there's no doubt like our last 2 pre-seasons have been like fucking hard.
Really?
But it's like, I just feel like the more you put in and like the more you want something as well, like we done so much more Ks in the legs like the last couple of years than previous years. But it's like all for a purpose. Like you're doing it for a reason. Yeah, and just guys are so much more committed. And when you finish a 15 or 16K session with the boys and like the coaches talk about, they're almost trying to break you today, but like we just stand tall and pick each other up, and we can walk off the ground, and that's sort of like what makes a bond even stronger.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt like winning games of footy make you enjoy it more as well. So for us, I think it's what happened before winning, but sometimes it can be like winning's what makes everything fun. So, I think the footy club environment is a result of us being happy, which is then a result of us winning more games, not the other way around.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. That's interesting. Coming into this grand final, like your mentality, having played what you went through in 2010, 2011, 2018.
Yeah.
Did you treat it differently in any sense to like capture it more, or even just your approach to grand final week, like in general? What would be interesting to know what you did differently?
Yeah. And as I said, like early days, like it wasn't like I took it for granted, but I was just young and was thinking it was going to happen. But even 2018, like that whole grand final week and like the parade and all that stuff, like I made a conscious effort of really enjoying it and taking it all in. And I did and loved it, but then fucking played like shit the next day.
Yeah, but you know what I was going to say though? I had a feeling you'd say that. Your 2018 year though was probably your best year, wasn't it?
It definitely was.
You almost, and funny, Tommy Mitchell won the Brownlow. You came second, didn't you?
Second, yeah.
And then you were All-Australian, you did everything that year.
Yeah, and that's probably why it
hurts
even more,
right.
Because like I had expectations of myself to play well, and then when we lose by such a small margin, you don't play well. Like it's funny now that we won this year, like I can look back on that a little bit easier and like sort of make me feel a little bit better.
Good, let it go, bro.
Like I've had many sleepless nights thinking about that because like, you said Campbell Brown and stuff about what he said, like the eyes are on you in grand final day. And, for a long time I've had like this, people from the outside say, Steele Sidebottom like a big game player. And then 2018's come around, I play shit and have like 14 touches or something and we lose by a small margin. Like, that one hurt for a long time.
Yeah.
But going into this one, even more older and like to think a little bit more mature. But like I get a greater appreciation of the position we're in now because at the end of the day, everyone wants to be playing grand final day and there's only two teams. So for us to be there again this year, like our whole, like not even just the week, but like finals week, we had so many supporters come to train and that, which is fucking unreal. And I love it. I love nothing more than that Collingwood chant.
That's, you were on it, weren't you?
Yeah,
you doing
I just love it. I love it so much. They couldn't hear me, I don't think.
Yeah.
But just like the whole week and like having my family involved in it as well, like having a little girl now, like she went through the parade.
Oh, that's cool. Is that been your first time?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
With Howie's little man, Xander, as well, like having them two there. And my wife, she's a St Kilda supporter, but she's a Magpie at heart now.
That's why I know. Yeah, she's like me.
Exactly right. And like, because I feel like the last few years, like our families have been brought along for the ride just as much as anyone. Like they've enjoyed it so much. And like after the game, I think there was like 5 minutes to go in the game. And so like the game's close. I think someone said, look, if you guys want to be on the ground, like you've almost got to come now so we can get you through. And so Leisha reckon she watched the end of the game basically on like a little TV like this because they weren't allowed to down the race. So like she's shitting herself.
Oh my God. So this is when all the Cameron, Geordie, and your goals happen.
Going on.
Yeah.
And then so like the siren goes and like, you're cuddling all the boys going mad. And then to see like your daughter and your wife run out on the ground, like, that moment's just as good as any other one. So to win one now at 32 rather than when I won it in 2010 at 19, like it is chalk and cheese. Like this one means so much more to me. And it's funny, like you do something once and it gives you that taste back.
I know.
You just want to do it
it's
again.
It's addictive, eh?
It is.
Do you remember I kind of been spoken about, your reaction post siren? Because you had one of the funnier ones and one of the more like you could see it in your face how much it meant to you,
Yeah. So, I remember it clearly. I was sort of on the fat side, which I've done a little bit of this year, just running up and down that wing. But, I was sort of, running and tracking the footy and then the siren went and I just ran the opposite way to everyone else and just sort of like chucked my hands out and then it sort of only hit me halfway through it, and you can sort of see my face, and I just go like, oh, like what the fuck's just happened? Like we've done it. Yeah, and Tommy was actually the first person I seen and just run over to him, and yeah, I remember like I started to cry, and then I was just like, I actually don't know what happened. Like it just
blacked out.
Yeah, I remember everything, but like the feeling and like, yeah, it's
literally like, why you play the game.
Oh,
isn't
it is. And like the amount of times I've thought about that moment of like the siren going and for us to win the flag again, yeah, to actually do it was like incredible.
Yeah,
so
it's pretty
good.
special. Did you have any, not concerns, but just like, your head was a little bit more in the opposition than normal when Brisbane won? Because Brisbane had your number for, oddly enough, one of the few teams that had your number over the past few years.
Past few years, yeah. Well, we hadn't played them a lot at the G, which was something we had sort of up our sleeve. And then even when we lost to them at Marvel, like probably only 4 or 5 weeks before that, they won by about 4 goals in the end, but we still played pretty well. Like it was a real high scoring game. Yeah. So, yeah, I just feel like whenever we play someone at the G, it's almost like a different ball game. Like we're so lucky to be able to play there all the time, and it's our home ground. And that's why our fans as well, like to come and play us at the G at the moment with our fans going mad like they are, I'm pretty sure it can be intimidating.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. No doubt. I still think, the way you guys are, and with Fly especially, it's like you guys would concern me every year because you guys have, even though you and Pendles are there and still moving so young, it feels like you're such a young team.
Yeah.
Like in a sense, like you've got so many young superstars coming through that.
Yeah. Well, potentially our best player at the moment is like one of the youngest in the team.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, look out.
Do you guys, do they lean in on you for any advice, some of these younger guys? Because you came into a superstar team, you're arguably a superstar, but instantly you had success too. Like, is that something like Fly's?
Yeah, we spoke about it a couple of times actually. Fly will just throw to Pendles and I and just sort of talk about our experiences and so just like even just things like I was saying, like just taking everything in, the parade, all that kind of stuff. Because, sometimes it's too late and, it's 2 or 3 years down the track and you're sitting on the couch in that position where I was as well. And you think, fuck, why didn't I do this or do that? Yeah. And you don't want to be sort of in that mindset. You want to almost get to the game and think, I've done everything that I can. I've, made the most of every opportunity. And if today's not our day, then fair enough. But don't sort of get there and think, fuck, what could have been all this?
Because that's what someone said, that's what Pendle, like highlight that. Pendle was at the end of the game, what you guys did in 2010, he brought to 2023 where you sat around and on the ground had a beer and just went around and explained like what it meant to each of you. Like that's a cool thing to do.
Yeah. And that sort of, bring back feelings and stuff and sort of put me back in that. And that's like another thing, like in 2010 you do that and then so like for all that time I'm thinking, fuck, I want to do that again so much. And then same, like to be in there again and just to hear from everyone and what it meant to them and they're just memories that'll be with me forever and I'm happy to go on podcast and talk about it because it makes me feel good.
Yeah, it does me. I told you, I played on like I'd had 10 kicks and 8 handballs. I'll start everyone.
It's going up. I reckon you only had 5 handballs.
Yeah, it's dropped off now. The stat sheet's dropped off since the few days off. But I was telling everyone, it's like, geez, Jake, you're enjoying it. I'm like, mate, I had some kicks out there, mate.
All part of it.
Yeah, we're all premiership players. Mate, well, it's been great having you on. We've got kind of one more question we always ask our guests, which everyone will know at home, but we kind of attest 3 successful traits to people in sport or business.
Yeah.
Resilience, drive, or ambition. They're all pretty cool. But like for you across your journey, which one do you think's probably been sort of your rock throughout your career?
Probably drive, I would think. I've always been, as someone that has always wanted to play footy and I think now that, we've talked about those things that we sort of had on the inside of my jumpers.
What was in yours? Can you share that? Have you shared that?
I think I have anyway, but we can. I had ultimate competitor on there.
Oh, that's cool.
So like, I feel like anything like even like handball games, you were talking about like table tennis, like FIFA, anything I play it, like I hate losing at shit.
Yeah.
Like I hate losing.
I've learned that.
Yeah. So I'm like literally a competitor, and I feel like like the drive in me is what's sort of got me to as far as I have.
Yeah.
Just wanting to do well and succeed, and just sort of doing whatever I can to make every post a win, I think.
Do you think they should give out more medals for like some of the blokes that miss out that played like a huge chunk of the year?
Yeah.
Like, what's your view on that? Because it feels a bit stiff.
Yeah.
For one game.
Yeah. It is, and I'm very much a traditionalist as well.
Well, that's part of it though.
Yeah, it's always been the case, and I think like good organisations and things like really celebrate everyone anyway, and it's hard because like I feel like if I didn't play in the grand final and people wanted me to have a medal, I don't know how I'd go about accepting it as well.
I wouldn't want it.
Yeah.
Either.
So there's no doubt we don't just win the grand final with the players, and Fly was the only coach that got the medal. Like that's just how it is. That's the only people that get the medal. But it takes a whole footy club.
So
for us, that'd be like thousands of medals. So many people.
I'm sure I'd have to don one as well.
No doubt. Yeah. But I understand that. Yeah, everyone has played a part, but it sort of is what it is.
Rusty, you're a champion, mate. Finally, we did our episode. I'm sure you'll be back on one day, maybe co-hosting when you retire, big fella.
Hopefully 3 or 4 more years.
Yeah, that's right. Well, thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Hope you enjoyed the episode.